Coming up on Sowerby and Luff Deluxe, Georgina illuminates the Illuminati.
Can an owl use wire cutters?
And a butterfly in a dogfight. This is Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.
Live on tape from Studio Senseless in leafy London town, it's Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.
Welcome, internet chums, to Sowerby and Luff Deluxe. I'm Brian Luff.
And I'm Georgina Sowerby.
Georgina, I believe you have one or two matters arising.
Yes, as regular listeners will know, I volunteer in a charity shop, a thrift shop, working behind the till. And this week I had a very peculiar, I suppose it was proposition from a gentleman who was buying. He tried on some jeans and a new leather belt and came to the till and he said to me, will you reduce the price of these jeans, please? And I said, why, is there something wrong with them? Thinking that they maybe had a stain or maybe a cut in the fabric. He said, no, they don't fit properly. And I said, dear sir, we don't reduce the price of items because they don't fit you.
Well, isn't there an argument that charity shops should sell their clothes in all available sizes?
Yeah, that is fine. I mean, sometimes people come in and they show me it up and say, do you have this in a 14? And you think, no, that's not how this works. People donate their lovely items of clothes. And he knew exactly what he was getting. Basically, he picked up a £240 pair of jeans and a very brand new leather belt, which had the price tag of £50 on it, totalling £290. The cost was £14 to him, and yet he wanted a reduction. He got very grotty when I said I wasn't going to reduce them.
Maybe you're a victim of your own success. Maybe the shop is so beautifully set out that people go in there and don't even realise that it's a charity shop. Maybe they think it's just like a normal shop.
Charity shops are posh now. It's not like they used to be, where it was a bit of a bum fight and a jumble sale. Now it does feel quite designer there. And of course, because I'm not sure, people started to eBay their clothes, then they stopped eBaying their clothes, and now we seem to get very nice clothes again. We had a dress given in yesterday, which was red Valentino silk.
Wow.
It still had its price tag on, and the price tag was £895.
800?
We don't even know what to do with it, because we can't, like, what price do we put on it? It's probably worth 700, isn't it? But no one's going to go into a charity shop and go, oh yeah, I've got a spare £700.
Well, you fancy yourself as a bit of a fashion expert, don't you, Georgina? So when you price things up, and I know that's one of the things you do when you volunteer in there.
Yeah.
I mean, if something is worth £200, what's the algorithm to work out what you put it up for in a charity shop?
Well, I use the algorithm, which is it new? How worn is it? Is it still in fashion? Do people want to buy it now? As in, some things never go out of style, like a pair of Levi's. And actually, a pair of Levi's works better if someone else has worn them in a little bit for you.
And washed them a few times.
Yeah. And so basically, you do all that in your head. And usually, if it has a price tag on it, you can look it up on Tinternet if you don't know the value of something. And I generally put it probably, I would say, about an eighth of the price that you would buy it in a shop.
A butterfly and a dogfight, Georgina. What's that all about?
David Attenborough is back, everybody. David Attenborough is back. This is his last show that he's going to do. Do you call it live when you're on screen rather than just do voiceovers?
In vision, I would call it.
In vision, OK. He's in vision rather than just in our ears. And it's about the British Isles, and of course it's a fascinating place. And this week there was a brilliant butterfly dogfight. Now, these butterflies come out of hibernation or wherever they've been hiding. I wasn't listening that closely. Maybe they've just begun to live, and they're only on Earth for about 4 days, and yet, the only thing they have to do is procreate, and they fight to the death in the air in order to be the one that does the procreating. You're thinking, you're only here for 4 days. Why are you fighting? There are enough females out there, I'm sure, to have the eggs and whatever is put on the eggs in butterflies. I'm not sure how it works.
Human beings are only on this planet for 80 years or
yes,
so, aren't they?
And we start world wars.
And we have wars.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I suppose it's just a smaller version of that same thing.
And nature. But also in that programme, and this was something that you went out for a while, I think maybe to make yourself a cup of tea, and boy, did you time it right. And then there was a little bit of slug porn.
Slug porn?
Yeah.
Why didn't you call me in?
Well, I was like too scared, and I could not look away. It was one of those horrible moments where when two slugs, there's a glitch in the Matrix today with my voice, isn't there? When two slugs mate, they're both hermaphrodites, so they have both male and female reproduction genitalia.
Wow.
And
J.K. Rowling wouldn't like that.
Well, there's a branch, and they get on this branch, and they intertwine with each other. They're male members, and the male members then extend to being bigger than their actual bodies, and they intertwine like a DNA... what do you call it?
DNA... spiral.
Spiral. Thank you. I'm so glad you came up with the word spiral. They spiral round each other and they do the business. And David's last remarks were, the leftover slime is the only evidence that anything has happened.
Oh dear.
And I thought, yep, that's always the case, isn't it?
That's a horrible, horrible thought. And if you'd called me in, I could have rolled it back and watched it. But now it's gone
into
forever.
the ether. The slug porn has gone into the ether, everybody.
That was this week's Matters Arising. Next up, Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey.
Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey.
What have you got for us on Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey, Georgina?
We were watching the London news the other night, and as a sort of let's make everyone happy final link, they showed a photograph and said, this is the gentleman who has the pleasure of cleaning the London Eye, which is the large wheel with little glass pods on it that goes round and you can see the whole of London if it's a nice day. But this guy, there was a photo of him balancing, washing the windows on the pod that was at the very top of the wheel.
On the outside of the pod,
Yeah, and I thought, why are you up there doing it? Because the pod will come round. Do it when it's close to the ground. Am I the only one thinking that?
Well, the London Eye, unlike a lot of Ferris wheels, never stops.
You see,
it keeps going all the time. So if you want to get on it...
Yeah, I didn't know that.
If you want to get on it, it's a bit like stepping onto an escalator on the underground.
Comprende.
You just step into it as it goes past, you see, because it goes very slowly.
But, it must go very slowly.
But even having said that, what I couldn't figure out straight away was... when it's not open, they could clean it.
Yeah.
They could just shut it down for, like a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So that the pods could be moved around one at a time and stopped.
Yeah.
And the people could clean the outside of them without risking their necks. You see, I just simply can't understand that. So if someone falls off that thing while they're cleaning it and dies, then the first thing that would be said in the inquest was, well, hold on a minute. As you said,
this thing goes round.
Why is it goes round? So you could just bring it round to the bottom and clean it when it's at the bottom.
Yes.
Absolutely baffling why they don't do that.
And do you think when the people go into Hoover and clean the inside, do you think they go round for a trip as well?
Yeah, they must do.
I think I might volunteer to do that. That would be a great job to have, wouldn't it? Just cleaning the inside of a pod.
Talking about Ferris wheels, there was a documentary on the box the other night about Orson Welles. Actually, it was a documentary about the British director Stephen Frears, and he was visiting Vienna.
Yes.
And he went on the Ferris wheel that's featured in the Orson Welles film The Third Man.
Yes.
And now you can sit down in one of those pods on the Ferris wheel in Vienna. You can sit down and have a full meal.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
With table service and white silver service. So it's not enough anymore to just go on a Ferris wheel, is it? It has to be an executive experience now.
my comeback for that, though, is you don't really want a meal when you go. Surely you want to be looking out, don't you? Or maybe you're eating and looking out at the same time. I mean, I understand a restaurant with a view, but I'm not sure I'd want to be moving. It's a bit sort of in flight, isn't it?
The top of what is now the Telecom Tower in the middle of London. Which used to be called the Post Office Tower.
Yes.
When it first opened, the top went round and round.
I remember
that the diners could watch London going past, and it was a bit like dining on a ship.
There was one of those at the top of the hill in Hong Kong as well. I remember we went there on the first night when I was about 14 and we flew to Hong Kong. We went there on the first night, and of course, because we'd been flying all day and we're really hungover because we didn't know what time zone we were in, the fact that it was rotating, apparently I kept putting my head on the table, falling asleep, and every time I woke up just went, where are we? Because it was a different view.
Some people get seasick on those things.
Yeah.
What else have you got for us on Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey, Georgina?
A new chatbot. You see, I didn't really know what a chatbot was, so I had to do some research on this. The new chatbot, GPT-4, has just come out.
It's a catchy name.
It is, isn't it? And it's a chatbot, so you can use a chatbot. It replicates a human being. So, you know when you send a little text or something to a supermarket saying, you haven't delivered every single item in my basket, a little person gets back to you and goes, how can I help you? That is a chatbot. The new GPT-4 chatbot, if you take a photograph of inside your fridge and say to the chatbot, what meals do you suggest from what's available?
Wow.
It will give you a list of food to make.
So it can recognise the products from being in there. Does it read barcodes on them, or does it just know what a can of Coke looks like?
I presume that's the case.
Wow, that's
so
incredible.
you take a photo of inside your fridge, it will come. I mean, basically, if I took a photo of inside our fridge, it'd be eggs and beans, and it would come up with, have you tried cooking eggs with beans?
But is it on all the time?
Well, that's what I wondered. Is this whole thing just a spy thing? I know that's all a bit conspiracy. And really, to me, unless the chatbot is also willing to cook and then do the washing up, I don't really need the recommendations. I know what I want to cook. That's why the food is in the fridge,
Don't some people keep their drugs in the fridge? It's like, I'm just wondering that if you put, say, a syringe with insulin in it in the fridge, whether it would look at it and go here are some suggestions for what to make with a syringe of insulin and a can of baked beans. I don't know. But I think I don't like things like that. I think that's artificial intelligence gone insane.
Well, this artificial intelligence apparently can write songs, poems, do comedy, and also can copy from the internet really quickly and do your homework.
They can't do comedy.
Do your homework.
The Last
for
Leg
you.
proved that a few weeks ago. They got a robot to write a joke.
Yes.
And they said, we're going to do the joke at some point during the show, and you have to spot which joke it is.
Yeah.
And of course, it turned out that the joke was the only joke in the whole show that nobody laughed at because
no one understood it.
That's tried and tested. You've got time for one more Dump Bogart, Georgina.
Yeah. Now, I found this out this week, and this is a fact that I'm really happy I now know, because it's something I'm going to pass on to almost everybody I know. Do you know that the top of Everest has preserved climbers' sneezes for centuries?
Wow.
It is so cold up there that if you have sneezed, it has gone out, immediately frozen. And the ice has frozen it, and it can be up there for centuries.
And I presume there's DNA in that
So
sneeze,
basically,
isn't there?
you can go up Everest, and if it melts, you can catch a cold from someone who had a cold in like 1849.
Maybe you could get bubonic plague.
Well, that's what the scientists have looked at some of the bacteria up there, and it is centuries old. But what they've also said is that bacteria has developed to learn to live within the super cold environment, and some of it, not all of it, some of it has developed to actually reproduce within that cold environment.
Wow.
So up there, is really quite grimy. Up at the top of Everest is almost like the bottom of your toilet seat.
Doesn't that really just tell us that wherever you are, even if you're on the top of a mountain, that if you sneeze, put your hand over your mouth?
Yeah. No, we're supposed to do it into your elbow now, aren't you?
It's even more important.
You do it into your elbow because you use your hands.
Yeah,
if we learnt one thing from the lockdown, we learnt that.
More Don't Bogart the Finger Monkey in the next podcast. Coming up next, words that are nice to say.
Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.
And this week's word that is nice to say is genealogy.
Genealogy?
Let's say it together, shall we?
Genealogy.
Turn to someone close to you, look deep into their eyes, grasp their face firmly in your hands and say, genealogy. Place it in a sentence for us, Georgina.
Brian became interested in genealogy when he discovered that he was distantly related to Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
That's genealogy. Today's official word that is nice to say on Sowerby and Luff. Still to come, were the Illuminati good at karate?
I like that.
A face-off between a lion and an elephant goes viral.
Nice.
And Candy Carrot Cake will be phoning in from her celebrity retreat in Barbados.
To listen to the full-length version of this podcast, go to patreon.com/Studio Senseless and become a patron of Sowerby and Luff Deluxe.